This video is made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Hello everyone, my name is Xiomaro and welcome back to the channel. So, Apex Legends. This game only came out 2 weeks ago, but it already feels like an absolute behemoth in the gaming community. A game like this only comes around once in a blue moon, and what's even crazier is there was absolutely no hype leading up to the game's launch. Yet despite that, it's routinely been one of the most watched games on Twitch since its release. It's reached 25 million unique players in just 2 weeks, and it looks like it's already solidified itself as Fortnite's main competition. And honestly, I don't think many people seriously thought Fortnite would have any competition, like, ever. I mean, just look at World of Warcraft's dominance in the MMO genre. Nothing has even come close to knocking it off the #1 slot, even 15 years later. A lot of people thought Fortnite would be the same. I mean, once you reach a critical mass, it does become quite hard for other games to overtake you, but maybe Apex Legends could do just that. So I guess the question is, why is Apex Legends so popular? Well, there isn't just one answer to this. As with any game, it's a combination of gameplay, artwork, story, and loads of other stuff that really makes or breaks a game. But personally, I'd have to start with the way it was released. I guess this is kind of a weird analogy to make, but I like to think that Apex Legends did a Beyonce with their release. Do you guys remember at the end of 2013, Beyonce released an album without any prior announcement? Yeah, they did that. I'm sure it's not just me, but I'm absolutely sick of the ridiculous hype machine that surrounds the release of a AAA game. And to be fair, even indie games get this treatment sometimes, although it happens in a slightly different way. But with the big publishers, PR companies and their major publication and quote-unquote influencer buddies get this ridiculous hype train going for games that no one has even actually seen yet, not even them who's hyping it up. And us schmucks end up getting sucked in every time. And I say us schmucks because, yeah, I totally get sucked into this from time to time. Just say MMO with a classless system and open world housing and I'm hyped. Rest in peace, Star Wars Galaxies. But the number of times we all feel let down because the games so rarely live up to the actual hype, it really sours our opinion of pretty much any game that gets hyped up in the future. So for that reason, what Respawn and EA did with Apex Legends is such a breath of fresh air. Plenty of people have said that the game could have been dead on arrival if they'd gone the regular hype train route. Sorry, what? You're cancelling Titanfall 3 for another Battle Royale game? Let's get to Reddit and grab the pitchforks. Releasing the game with no prior hype totally mitigated that. I know there were people who did feel outraged when they first heard the news, but the fact they were able to download the game and play it for free almost immediately prevented the rage from growing into anything more than that. But to be fair, just releasing a game without any prior announcement isn't enough to make a game successful. The game itself has to be good. And let's be honest, the Battle Royale genre is totally saturated right now. So how on earth did Apex Legends managed to stand out? One thing that I think makes a big difference is classes, and more specifically, I guess, characters. Respawn took a similar approach to Overwatch with this game and gave us some really varied and colourful characters. The lore is pretty thin on the ground right now, but that's kind of the beauty of it. I'm a big fan of the Dark Souls approach to storytelling. Just give us little scraps to learn from and let us figure out what the story is. I'm sure Respawn will expand on the character stories at some point, but for now, I kind of like the mystery. And beyond the story, because, I mean, that's kind of secondary to the gameplay, the classes are simple enough that you can figure out how to play most of the characters in a single game, but they're also unique enough that each character gives you a different way of playing. If you want to get up in people's faces, knowing you can probably escape if things don't go your way, you can play Wraith or Bangalore. If you prefer to play a more supportive role, then you've got Lifeline. Or if you like to just trap your foes and watch them die slowly, you can play Caustic, you psychopath. I know Apex isn't the only Battle Royale with classes, but just like the way it was released, it's one part of the puzzle. If nothing else, having different classes means when you get bored of playing one way, you can change it up. Compare that to PUBG or Fortnite, where sure, you can change your playstyle, but other than that, every game kind of feels the same. With Apex, if you get bored, changing characters might be enough to keep you playing for longer. And that brings me nicely to something else that Apex Legends does really well: teamwork. This is something that I think does set Apex apart from the competition a little more. The game has a huge emphasis on teamwork. Some of the characters have great synergies together. Say you want to traverse the map faster as a team, you could take a Pathfinder or Wraith or both. If you want to bunker up with shields to take longer range engagements with ease, you could take Lifeline and Gibraltar. And don't forget that 3-man squad is the only way to play this game right now. There are talks of other game modes being added, and I'm sure they will be, but the fact that on release, 3-man squad is the only way to play kind of sets the tone for the game's future. Most other Battle Royale games have a squad mode, but Apex Legends is the only major Battle Royale game to put an emphasis on and actually balance around squad mode in particular. Having to play with 2 other people when you're playing solo obviously has its downsides, but do you know what's weird? The community, so far at least, is surprisingly friendly and cooperative, and I think a huge part of that is that you don't actually have to physically speak to your team. Another unique feature in the game is the incredible pinging system. The fact that you can quickly and easily relay all sorts of information to your team with one button is amazing. If you find a high-level body shield but you already have one, just ping it so your team can find it. You walk into an area with open doors, well, you can ping that to let your team know someone's been there. Or if you spot an enemy, yeah, just ping that too. And because it all comes up clearly on the HUD, it makes calling this stuff to your team so much easier than saying things like 3 guys by the trees, 150 meters, 220 degrees. I mean, I have to say I do kind of enjoy that milsim approach from time to time, but sometimes you just want to play a game that feels like a game, you know? And now let's talk about the thing that I think actually makes the game the most appealing: the pacing. Along with the great character design, the pacing of Apex Legends has got to be the biggest selling point for me. So I think there are a few factors that contribute to its pacing. Firstly, you have the size of the map. It's pretty small. That means you don't have to run far to get to another loot zone or find a fight if you're looking for one. It puts everyone closer together and makes the game a lot more action oriented and a lot less hide and seek / walking simulator. Secondly, the time to kill is relatively long. This means a few things. Number one, it means you have a bit of time to react after being shot at. In a lot of Battle Royale games, if you get spotted first and you're out in the open, you're as good as dead. Having a longer time to kill actually encourages you to move around more because it's not as risky as it is in other games. The other cool thing about the time to kill is a lot of guns, at least until you have extended mags, struggle to one-clip someone. This further puts an emphasis on teamwork. You're always better off trying to kill someone as a squad than you are running around solo. Yes, if you outskill your opponents, you can definitely solo kill an entire squad, but if we're talking about a more evenly matched fight, a solo player is going to struggle to take down even a single person against a competent squad. Another great part of the pacing is just how many chances you get to stay in the game. First, meds and shields are quite plentiful, so if you play it right, you can usually back off and heal up. And even if you do get knocked down, there are a few characters who can safely get you back up. Gibraltar and Lifeline have their shields, Wraith could make you a portal to get you to safety, and I guess you could even risk a res in Bangalore's smoke. You also get knockdown shields, so even when you do get knocked down, your opponent has to make a serious effort to fully kill you. So much so that the smart play is often to just leave them alive while you hunt the rest of the team. And if that weren't enough, if you do get killed after being knocked down, your team still has another chance to get you back in the fight. If they can get back to where you died and pick up the banner, you can be brought back at one of the many res zones. Combine all of this stuff together and you end up with a much more deathmatchy Battle Royale game, and that really alleviates one of my main gripes with Battle Royale games. If you want to win, playing safe is usually smart. In Apex, playing safe is actually a risky strategy. It's way quicker to gear up by taking fights than it is to go from loot zone to loot zone and then hide in a corner until the circle closes. You're actually putting yourself at a distinct disadvantage by playing too safe in this game. And the crazy thing is, the game's only been out for a little over 2 weeks, and it's already my most played Battle Royale game. Yeah, okay, I guess I get bored of other Battle Royale games pretty quickly, but considering this channel was originally created for Battlerite, a game that does have a Battle Royale mode, the fact that I've already played Apex Legends more than Battlerite Royale is kind of funny, and I'm nowhere near sick of playing it just yet. So I guess the last question is, how long will Apex last? Let's be real, the gaming community can be pretty fickle. You can't really project how long a game will last based on its initial hype alone. Once the Twitch streamers stop getting their paychecks and the initial hype machine dies down a little, will Apex continue to grow, or will it peak in the next few months and then slowly decline? No one can really say for sure just yet, but there are a few deciding factors. First, the game needs momentum, and to be fair, it definitely has that. Secondly, will the content schedule be fast enough? Well, so far I think it looks good, and you just know that EA are going to be pushing for more, just like Epic did when Fortnite became as popular as it did. And thirdly, and this is the one I'm most concerned about, how will the game be monetized moving forward? Yeah, this is EA we're talking about here. They've published so many great games and screwed so many of them up by just being plain greedy. And, yeah, the store is already looking a little bit expensive. I get that they need to monetize the game somehow, but seriously? More than $10 for a single skin? And if that wasn't bad enough, the cheapest skins go for 1,100 Apex coins, and the cheapest pack of coins you get is 1,000 coins for $10. So that means you need to get the $20 pack just to get a single goddamn skin. Yeah, I know, skins are totally cosmetic and optional, and I'm telling you now, I'm not paying for any of these standalone skins. But it kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth when that's how they're pricing things already. What's more, they suck you in with free Apex crates, but as you level your account up, you get less and less until they completely stop at level 50. That, to me, seems like a very predatory approach. I get that the game's free to play, but it's literally baiting people into buying random loot crates. Sure, you can choose not to buy them, but the issue is whales. For one reason or another, not everyone has enough self-control, and I really hate the idea of businesses preying on people who just don't have that self-control. Whether it's because they're really young and don't understand the value of things yet, or because they simply have issues with addiction, it basically amounts to gambling and preying on vulnerable people. If they didn't give you free crates in the first place, I'd probably have less of an issue with it. But the approach they've taken is certainly deliberate, and honestly, if this becomes a pattern, it could definitely turn people away in the future. If enough people draw attention to this though, hopefully it doesn't become a trend. So please EA, please don't pull an EA. Besides, you'll probably make more money long term if the game stays popular, even if the profits aren't as good short term. So then, what do you guys think? Why do you think Apex Legends is so popular? Is there something I've missed or overlooked? Do you even like Apex Legends for that matter? And do you think the game has what it takes to last in the long run? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to subscribe for more gaming guides, news, and discussion. And don't forget to check out the links below to Patreon, Discord, and Twitch. Until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.